Hey, what is up guys? GuitarRock here, welcome back to another Brown Dust 2 video. Alright, let's check out the patch notes because I'm sure you guys are curious. A lot of you guys were asking me about Blade. So let's talk a little bit more about this. There will be a maintenance, there will be a new story pack, there will be chapter 14. We're going to talk about that. We'll be doing that live on stream. Alright, if you guys want to watch me, you know, as per usual, twitch.tv/GuitarRock69, I'll be there live streaming it when it comes out. Alright, so plenty of things will be happening. Of course, there will be a new story chapter. There will be, of course, I'll try not to spoil it for you guys, but if you guys haven't read from the previous one, it's going to be the continuation from the previous one. Now, let's talk about the main one, which is going to be the cutscene home screen improvements. This is a very, very good thing. As you can see, now there's going to be multiple different instances that you can choose from each individual cutscenes from the character's skill cutscene. So you are able to do that. I actually do think this is a good update. Big shout out to the devs for making this happen, right? So not everyone will be available immediately. Alright, so they are only gonna add a few at a time. As you can see, we're gonna have Nebri for 2 costumes, Luvinsha for 2 costumes, of course Michaela for Beast of Justice and Queen of Signatures, and of course Livia Overheat, Loen, Bunny, Morpia, Bunny, Ser New Hire, Dalvi Therese, Vendana Liberta Blade. Alright, those characters will be getting the improvements. And also they will modify a little bit of things. As you can see, now they will be select individually or play sequentially or play randomly, right? So there's all of these options that you can basically use. Alright, this is all about the home screen stuff. If you guys are into that, good for you. Home screen setting slots will be increased to 20. Very, very good. Collapse feature is for the BGM. Pretty interesting, but let's talk about Blade. Alright, so is Blade a must pull? I've seen her kit. She is going to be a counter character. Now, counter characters are going to be a little bit weird, right? The truth is, it's going to depend on what you want them to do and ideally also what kind of scenario that we're looking at. So they are going to be a little bit more complex and more nuanced. She's not the first counter character that we have. Alright, we have a few already in the meta right now. For example, one that you can think of is Sylvia, right? One very prominent counter character. I believe Slacklist has one costume that can counter as well. So I wonder if they're gonna rework the mechanic overall. But right here you can see, very front, 4 SP, 5 turns at +0. And of course, we're gonna have the counter whenever you receive an attack. Alright, each counter deals physical damage to all enemies 100%. And then the effect wears off after being hit 8 times. Additionally, deals physical damage to the enemy equal to 300% of your attack. So, how strong is she in a regular PvE scenario or in a boss scenario, right? As you can see, the most important thing is about she's going to be able to counter and deal damage to all enemies equal to 100% of your attack. And then additionally deals physical equal to 300% of your attack. So I'm not sure what this means. Does this mean that 100 plus 300, 400%? Also it says all enemies, but then there's a range right here, right? So I assume the range means something, right? Because it's like it doesn't make sense for you to get hit and then all enemies get the counter damage, but then there's this range, then what's this range for? I assume the enemy has to be in this range and then it will hit every enemy in that range. That's going to be my assumption, right? Again, not entirely 100% sure how this will work yet. We're going to test it out when it comes out, right? But like I said, she could be strong depending on the situation or she could be weak depending on the situation. Number one is the effect wears off after being hit 8 times, right? So that means if the enemy has multi-hit, let's say 2 enemies has multi-hit, right? One enemy can hit you 4 times. Another enemy can hit you 4 times. So therefore, you only, you know, the effect wears off afterwards, right? Compared to when you fight single target enemies, that they only do like single target hit. Therefore, you are going to be able to benefit from it more often, alright? So it is going to be dependent on that. So if there's too much multi-hit going on by the enemy, it wears off faster, therefore making this not a very good costume, I guess. So if the enemy can hit you 8 times instantly, right? Let's say you play in PvP, right? For example, right? A Luvinsha comes in and hit you 8 times. Sure, you counter the Luvinsha, but at the end of the day, then your effect wears off already. Unless you kill the enemy in that particular counter, that's going to be the case, right? So overall, we'll see how this works. But improvements-wise, doesn't seem that we get massive upgrade, right? So you can see +1 increase a little bit, right? A little bit of multiplier increase. Now at +2, this effect wears off after being hit 10 times. I'm going to guess that ideally you want to get her to +2 so that it lasts longer, alright, depending on, again, what enemies that you're fighting against, right? +3 is just going to be more upgrade, +4, a little bit more damage upgrade, and +5, even more damage upgrade. So her skill potential or the potential liberation, damage dealt increased by 80%, okay, counter damage increased by 20%, I believe that's going to be for this one, right? This one becomes 200%. This one becomes 700%. That's going to be my guess. SP cost is become, that one is going to be probably the most important one, right? So she's going to become 3 SP. So, what is her purpose in terms of using her in Fiend Hunter, Fiend Bosses, and Guild Raids then, right? So I don't think she's meant to be a main DPS. Right? It seems like she's not going to be the main damage dealer. It seems like she's just going to be there to apply this counter, and she's going to counter the enemy, but you still bring one more DPS because she only applies her skill one time, and then you have these 5 turns of cooldown, right? That you gotta wait. You gotta wait for like 5 turns. That means 3 or more sequences between you and the enemy. So what are you going to do in between? You're just going to use normal attack, right? So therefore, it wouldn't make sense that you're just going to use normal attack. So you have a lot of SP stacked up. So ideally, it feels like her role doesn't act as a main DPS, but rather as a sub DPS where she complements the other physical main DPS. It seems that that is going to be the case. I could be wrong, obviously, but that's how I'm reading her as for the timing. You are probably going to have a lot of excess SP that you can basically get, and then you have your main DPS go in every single... ideally, right now, right, based on all the characters that we have seen, main DPS are costumes that you are able to attack every single turn. Alright, so if you can only attack one or few turns, that seems to be a sort of like a sub DPS or secondary DPS, right? But again, she doesn't have the other costume yet, so we won't be able to fully utilize her potential for the time being. So sadly, I wouldn't go all in, right? Personally, I would go for +1 or maybe like +2 seems like a good stopping point, but then I would just get like 1 copy and see how it is, right? She's going to be added to the potential liberation as well, as you can see. Yeah, powder of hope, right? So that's going to be later on. Now, you can see right here, apparently you can get her for free as well, right? You will be able to appear near the shop NPC in the safe zone of Story Pack 15, can be recruited as a companion using 5-star regular contract. So that means she's one of the free costumes that you can get in the inn. You don't even need to pull for her, alright? If you want to, just use your 5-star scroll. It's been a while since we used our 5-star scroll, so I think this is what this means. Now let's talk about the next one then. The weapon, I wouldn't go hard on the weapon because again, she's not limited, right? But this one though, Yumi though. Now this is what we're talking about. Now earlier today on the stream, on our stream earlier on Twitch, we were trying out this character, right? So Yumi was insane, right? So she is doing, as you can see, 856 million on the boss, Fiend Hunter boss. This is really high damage, alright? Considering that she's a character that can stack DOT. Now I highly recommend if you guys can afford to. Now what happens right here in Brown Dust Do don't happen often. I've never seen it happen in most gacha games where a collab character gets rerun, which is really rare. So I highly urge you guys to get Yumi instead, because I have a feeling once this rerun is over, it will be a while, or maybe even never, right? You will never be able to obtain her ever again. So my recommendation is to get Yumi, right? She's going to be one of the strongest water magic DPS character out there. As you can see, she competes with, I guess, Morpia and Shirazad for the time being in terms of magic water DPS, but she's definitely way stronger, right? She can attack the enemy 5 times, very good chain as well. Alright, does damage, deals DOT stack as well, stacks out to 99 times, and of course all of this is going to further improve her. Now as you can see, I have her maxed out. This is going to be a very strong one. She has 2.1k attack, 563% crit damage. This is my current gear, right? Very, very cool. Now, if you want to, you could also consider getting her weapon. Her weapon is very good because her weapon is on the weapon slot. I always get asked a lot, should I pull for weapon? Should I pull for this? Now, number one rule, if you want to pull for weapon, always make sure that it's on the weapon slot. If it's an armor, or if it's in like an accessory, I wouldn't recommend it as much, right? If the character's weapon is a weapon, like a weapon slot, then it's good, right? Because usually on weapon slot, that means you can get bonus crit damage because most character can crit. As you can see, this one right here, you see this crit damage right here? This is what you want, right? You ideally want to get as many crit damage as you can. So this is not a good roll. I don't have crit damage here. So you know what? Let me try and I'll try to refine it, alright? Show you guys a little bit how I usually do it. Ideally, I want to lock this one, but since none of this has crit damage, I don't mind going a little bit. Ooh. So now, when this happens, now I will do this. Now I will lock these two, okay? And then I will do this. Okay, I will take this. This is way better. Alright, ideally you don't really need crit rate, right? You want to have crit damage, crit damage, crit damage, crit damage. But this is, in my opinion, a relatively good upgrade. Okay, now as you can see, almost 600% crit damage. Very, very good, right? So highly recommend you guys to get the weapon if you guys can. That is going to be the one that you want to go for. If you don't want to get the weapon, that's fine, but at least get Yumi to as high as you can. She's a DPS, I highly recommend you to +5 her. That's pretty much it, right? As you can see, Dancing Snowflake Yumi will not be added to the Powder of Hope because she is a limited character. And also you cannot use the selective draw that we have every single month. Keep that in mind. So that is something to consider. So get Yumi, get her weapon. That's my advice for now. Everything else, the blade or whatever, it seems like she's free, available in the inn. Alright, you can claim her using scroll. Don't stress out on her, right? She's not limited. For now, wait for the next character to see who is going to be strong, right? So yeah, that's pretty much my advice. With that being said, that's gonna be it for this particular video. Subscribe if you guys haven't already. Give this video a like. And of course, stay tuned for more Brown Dust 2 content. Have a nice day. Goodbye. Subscribe, guys.